this evening. Joining me now is Democratic Virginia Congresswoman Jennifer McClellan and Democratic Nevada Congressman Stephen Horsford. Thank you both for joining us. I want to start with the Trump administration seemingly operating with little regard right now for either public opinion or the Constitution. You heard the last segment. The DOJ does not currently say it is investigating the killing of Renee Good by an ICE officer in Minneapolis. And they are threatening to deploy even more federal forces when local leaders are begging them to stand down. On Monday, President Trump is set to attend the annual World Economic Forum in Switzerland, where he may press European leaders further on Greenland, which Trump has said he's prepared to purchase for even to seize it with the military, even though he hasn't consulted with Congress about either of these options. Trump has even reportedly ramped up his criticism of Canada in private conversations. Congresswoman McClellan, first to you. As a Democrat in the House, how can Democratic members in Congress, such as yourself, place a check on the powers of this president?
Well, I think that, first of all, thank you for having us on this important conversation. I think we need to use whatever tools are on our toolbox to hold this administration accountable, first by making sure that the public knows exactly what is going on, that we are using our oversight responsibility, because Republicans are not, to get answers. We are being stonewalled, but we're going to continue to demand these answers. But it's really important that we empower the American people to understand exactly what this president is doing and to empower them to speak up. Because what I have noticed is when enough people speak up and there's enough outrage, this president does back off. It takes a while, but he does back off. And then where we can, working with people who have standing to sue in the courts, when this administration loses, and they have lost more lawsuits than they've won, they do back off a little bit after they appeal. So we need to use what tools we have, but that includes the courts and the American people.
Now, Congressman Horsford, same to you. How can Democrats put a check on the unprecedented moves by this president?
Well, Reverend Sharpton, I'm actually here in front of the MLK Community Center, in front of a MLK statue in the heart of my district. And as Dr. King reminded us, the arc of the moral universe bends towards justice, but only if people are willing to bend it. And as the People's House, the House of Representatives, it is our job, reflecting the values of the American people, to ensure that all of these issues, from ensuring safety in our communities from ICE agents, protecting people's health care, addressing the affordability crisis, making sure that there's actually opportunity for people to prosper. These are the issues that the American people are demanding from their government, to hold this administration accountable. But it's not enough for us just to be against Donald Trump. It's also about what we're fighting for, and that is about putting people over politics and the powerful.
Now, for Democrats to place checks on the president, they need power. And the party did have some successes in the off-year elections. Congresswoman McClellan, sticking with you. In your home state of Virginia, you swore in Abigail Spanberger as your first female governor, and redistricting plan is in the works. How can Democrats seize on this momentum heading into the 2026 midterms, and what issues should they lead with?
Well, I think it's important to understand and remember that Abigail Spanberger, Ghazala Hashmi, and Jay Jones won that election for two main reasons. They stood up and promised to stand up for Virginians against the chaos coming out of Washington, but they also put forth a vision of unity and addressing the needs of Virginians which they heard all over Virginia, is affordability. The cost of everything is too high. Virginians are worried about how they're going to pay for health care, housing, child care, groceries, energy. And Abigail Spanberger focused on plans that would meet those needs. Now, for redistricting, we wish we didn't have to be here. But Donald Trump has bullied MAGA-led legislatures across the country to change the rules midterm. And so Virginia and other states are now forced to respond so that we can try to level the playing field so we don't allow this president to do what he tries to do all along, and that's to cheat. And we're going to make sure that we put to the voters a constitutional amendment for redistricting to allow midterm redistricting temporarily to respond to Donald Trump. We are not going to let him change the rules in the middle of the game without a response.
Congressman Horsford, the Cook political report put out an analysis this week noting that Democrats are in a strong position to win the House back in November after disapproval of Trump's first year back in office. How do they seal the deal with voters in the coming months? What should they be talking about?
Well, as one of those frontline districts here in Nevada, my district in a battleground state, I understand just how hard it is to win in these competitive districts. And what it means is centering the voices and the lived experiences of the people that we represent. And as my colleague, Representative McClellan, said, it's about centering their issues and their needs, from the housing and affordability crisis here in Southern Nevada. 1 out of 3 homes are owned by these corporate speculators, these institutional investors that are buying up homes at the same time we are trying to bring affordability both to renters and to first-time home buyers. We have the issue of the energy crisis and the fact that energy costs are going up, insurance rates are going up, groceries are going up. Now, this is in large part because of these tariffs that are taxes that Trump has imposed on the American people. And while we work to fight this administration through the Supreme Court, and I do believe that these will be struck down, we have to make sure that we return the dollars to the American people that Donald Trump stole from them by imposing these tariffs on the American people. So these are the issues that House Democrats will continue to fight for.
You're both members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Congresswoman McClellan, you're the parliamentarian. Congressman Horsford, you chaired the caucus for 2 sessions. Monday, tomorrow, is Martin Luther King Day. How are you thinking about his work and his legacy at this present moment in this climate? Congresswoman McClellan, let's start with you. We're out of time, but I wanted to get your thoughts.
You know, I couldn't help but think a year ago on Dr. King Day, as we saw Donald Trump take the oath of office, the question Dr. King focused on the final year of his life. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Donald Trump unleashed chaos all year long. We have to stay focused on community, building the beloved community that Dr. King worked for, and that takes vigilance, that takes focusing on the fierce urgency of now. That means not letting up on meeting the needs of the American people, of making sure that all the people are empowered to participate in this government. While we fight chaos, we have to stay focused on community.
Congressman Horsford, you have the last word.
Well, through the leadership of Chairwoman Yvette Clarke and the 62 members of the Congressional Black Caucus, we're focused on the things that the American people are focused on. And let's be frank, if Black America is falling behind, America is falling behind. And that is why we are focused on lowering costs, expanding opportunity, and protecting democracy. When Donald Trump says that civil rights is somehow being used to the detriment of white America, he is speaking against the fact that this was about leveling the playing field so that we would have an equal chance to compete and succeed. Because we know that when you lift up Black America, you lift up everybody. That is what the Congressional Black Caucus continues to fight for as the conscience of the Congress, and we will continue to do that every step of the way.
All right, Representatives Jennifer McClellan and Stephen Horsford, thank you both for being with us.